How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today for you I have a Destiny update video, very similar to what I did for the House of Wolves DLC. This time I'm going to do it for the Taken King. Now I can tell you that there isn't going to be as much information in this video as there was for the House of Wolves, just because there hasn't been as much released right now about the Taken King. But they have put out some information, they have put out some updates, so I wanted to put together a kind of a pre-video that has everything in it so far, and then the closer we get to the 15th of September, I'll do another video because I'm pretty sure there'll be some more updates, some more information provided when we get closer to the actual release date. So before we get into the information, before we get into the updates, I do have some gameplay here from a fire team that I just jumped into to do the strike off of the House of Wolves, trying to go after Taniks. So I figured we're going to talk about Destiny. Let's go ahead and watch some Destiny, and hopefully I don't make it so bad to watch because I'm just horrible at playing the game, or I'm rusty. I really haven't been playing Destiny a whole lot lately, so I apologize that the gameplay isn't really all the best. So with that said, we'll just go ahead and jump in. I think at this point now we all know what the story is for the Taken King. Ornyx, the father of Crota, is coming back for revenge for us killing Crota during the Dark Below. I will say this going into the story, the story is going to be the one portion of the expansion that I am concerned the most with. I know when Destiny launched and we all started getting a chance to get into and playing it and everything, there was a lot of complaints about just, a lot of the mechanics and a lot of the gameplay features and a lot of the choices they made gameplay wise of the game. And I think they've certainly made steps in the right direction to correct those things. The one aspect of the game that everybody universally almost complained about that hasn't been touched is the story. Now that could be because it's maybe a little bit easier or harder, depending on how you're looking at it, to fix the story without, having to redo it like in, say, Destiny 2. But at the same time, one can argue in the expansions you should have been able to improve the story then too, but then now you have those who feel like the expansions were actually in the game originally and were ripped out to be sold as the DLCs later. It's hard to tell, to be honest with you. The one thing that can be said is, like I said, the story is lacking. No matter how you look at it, the story is lacking in Destiny. I think they missed a huge opportunity to implement a rather simple mechanic and do some nice lead-ins after each game or each session was over to set up the next expansion or DLC. So like at the end of the base game, Destiny, you do everything that happens in that game, and then all of a sudden, the vendor from the Dark Below, her ship crashes into the tower, and it just is like, sets up this big old, oh my god moment of what just happened, what happened to this lady, why is this going on, and and then it leads up to, she just says something like he's coming or whatever, and then it ends. So it sets up that suspense, that drama or whatever, for what's going to happen on the next DLC. And then you go and you beat Crota at the end of that, and everything's good. We think we've saved everything, and then all of a sudden you get a distress call from the reef, and now we have to go help them. And then you go there, and there's just all this destruction, and you find out that the wolves had turned on them, and all of these things. And then you finish that, and then we find out that there's like scout ships out somewhere, and they send back reports of a giant ship that just destroyed a bunch of guardians or did something. And it just leads up, each one leads up to the next expansion. Had they done that, just that simple mechanic alone would have improved the story dramatically, because it would have at least tied everything together and not give off that feeling that they were indeed chopped out of the game and just put in there on the back end as DLC. So my hope with the Taken King story is that they, one, do a transition, do something to set up either the next DLC, because we're supposed to be getting 2 more after this, and then also maybe set up possibly stuff for Destiny 2, see how that goes. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the story, but we'll have to wait and see until it gets out. Other updates that we've gotten so far are, your standards. You've got new exotic weapons, new armors, new missions, new patrols, new quests, things like that. We'll also be getting new PvP modes. You'll be getting Mayhem, which is basically all your supers and your abilities have faster cooldown, so they'll be able to spam them a little bit faster. And then Rift, which is basically a twist on Capture the Flag. And each team has their own little time rift or whatever, and you have to put in these orbs in there to win the mode. So we'll also be getting a new level cap increase as well as some weapon balancing. I believe the weapon balancing patch notes are actually on Bungie.net if you want to see those, and then some improvements to the economy. They didn't really elaborate on those last two, or last two of the last three there. The economy improvements and then the level cap increase. It didn't say how high it's going to go, and it didn't say what they're going to improve on the economy, but there are going to be some changes coming to that. So those are just kind of your typical standard updates and changes. As far as a little more specific, we'll be getting a new subclass. The third subclass will be introduced into this expansion. And the interesting thing with that one is they announced that you're actually going to have to unlock that one through quests. So I think by doing that, it kind of pseudo improves the story a little bit. It gives you a reason to actually play the story, a reason to go out there and finish it. So hopefully that kind of gives hope that they're going to fix that. So that's kind of interesting. They announced a new location called the Dreadnought, which is a quote from one of the developers was a labyrinth-style arena, and that's where Ornyx is. I'll get back to that when we get into the raid, but I think that's probably where the raid will end up taking place. And then they announced a new enemy type called the Taken, which from the E3 videos and some of the still shots, it appears to be the same character models, your Fallen, your Vex, your Cabal, Hive, whatever, but they've been corrupted and they all have this weird blue hue to them, and they have different abilities and different attacks. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out too. So, and then lastly, as far as updates are concerned, they talked about the quests and then mentioned raids and strikes. As far as the quests are concerned, that was the one that got the most information put out for it. Going forward, all of the expansion quests that are specific to the Taken King are going to function a lot like the exotic bounties. So instead of just going out there and complete A and turn it in or whatever, you're going to have to do A, then go do B, then go do C, exactly like the exotic bounties work now. Now, if they figure out a way to make those tie into the story and have them be storyline quest driven, I think, again, that's going to help us take a step forward in improving the story of the game. But if it's just going to function like the existing exotics do, where you got to go get 500 kills with a void weapon, and then wait till Thursday to buy a piece off of Zur, and then go, I don't know if I'm going to pick up a lot of the new expansion quests, but we'll see. They announced that you're going to go from 12 quests to 16. And then the quests will have their own tab in the menu section. They're going to remove them from the inventory tab and they'll have their own section. And then the last piece they announced is you'll be able to actually turn in completed quests through the quest tab and not have to go back to the tower. They didn't announce or say anything regarding whether or not you'll be able to pick them up, which I think if they have that, then that's a huge improvement. It's going to keep you out of all those long pointless load screens or those pointless trips back to the tower and having to jump back out to the world. But carrying 16 new quests, getting to turn them in through a menu, that's a pretty big improvement in itself. So, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the strikes and raids. As far as updates are concerned, they did say new strikes. They didn't say how many. More than likely, you're probably going to get 2 or 3 for the Xbox, and then the same 2 or 3 and probably one additional one or so for the PlayStation just because of their exclusive deal. They mentioned a new raid, or back to the strikes, I apologize. They said they were going to redesign 3 of the old or original strikes. The Dust Palace, Undying Mind, and Cerberus will all be redesigned with the idea that the Taken have overrun them. So does that mean now that we're going to fight the Fallen with the Taken, or did the Taken truly overtake that entire mission and now you're fighting Taken, you're fighting a different boss with different abilities, different attacks, things like that. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. And then the raid, the only two things they have mentioned about the raid was one, it's going to be larger than the other two raids, which makes me think that it's going to be on this big ship, the Dreadnought. And then two, they had mentioned in an interview that I saw that they're working on some new mechanics, some new dynamic environments, some new. It's kind of hard to explain. They're just kind of trying to spice up the raid per se to make things different, to make it play different and feel different than the House of or the Vault of Glass and Crota's End. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out, how those mechanics play. They mentioned something about making different things unique and different, alive and things like that. So does that mean every time we go into the raid it could be different? Or is it just going to be different that first time and then we'll just get used to a whole new set of mechanics in this raid as we go through? Not 100% sure, but again, I think updates like this just get you thinking about it. You couple that with the changes and things that they have made so far to the game. It'll be pretty interesting to see what happens with Destiny going forward. So, as far as updates are concerned, that's everything, content-wise, mechanic-wise, patch-wise, things like that has been updated so far. So I want to go ahead and spend the last few minutes of the video kind of going over the additions that you can purchase of the game, and then some special stuff that they announced as well. They did announce a special emblem for all Year 1 players. If you complete a series of tasks, you'll get a special emblem you'll be able to put out there for your character. You have to reach level 20. You have to finish the Black Garden, the Dark Below, and House of Wolf storylines. You'll have had to beat Skolas, Atheon, and Crota on hard. You'll have to complete 50 public events, win 100 Crucible matches, and find all gold chests. I'm not a big completionist when it comes to games. It's not something that I'm really focused on. I'm not a type of player that needs to go find everything or have everything. But there are players out there that are into that, so I think that's going to be pretty interesting and a pretty good incentive for you to go out there and get some things done maybe you haven't done yet. And then they announced recently GameStop has a pre-order bonus. If you pre-order the game through GameStop, you get the Surus Arsenal pack, and that gives you a shader, a fire emblem, and 3 guns. Whether those guns are actually going to be worth a darn or not, I couldn't tell you. Most gun packs that you get in a pre-order, they look cool, but they don't do anything, so you don't even use them. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But there's that if you like to pre-order a game through GameStop. So as far as the additions of the game that are going to come out, there are actually 3. You have a collector's edition that comes with both a digital and a physical copy, a legendary edition, again, digital and physical copy, and then just the digital download of the Taken King. So with the collector's edition, it's $80, and the $80 is going to get you the Destiny base game, the Dark Below, House of Wolves, and the Taken King. You'll also, in the physical edition, get what's called Cade 6 Intel Cache. In that, you're going to get a modified Treasure Island book. I'm not 100% sure what that is. You're going to get some notes and illustrations, collections of relics and artifacts, some Strange Corn replica, and then some weapon schematics. Pretty standard for your special edition, collector edition type fare. The digital edition of the collector's edition, you'll be getting exotic Guardian class items that are going to give you bonus XP. I really think that's tailored more towards individuals who are first getting into Destiny with this purchase, to help them level up to where they have to, get to 20 and then get to 20 a little bit faster and then have to go out and get the light stuff. You'll get 3 class emotes and some armor shaders. Now I know there was some point of contention and a lot of people were upset, especially people who've been playing Destiny since day 1 or put some time into the game, that in order to get some of that digital stuff, mainly the class emotes and those armor shaders, you were going to have to spend $80 on it. So, and there were a lot of people who were upset about that. So I know they recently announced that the digital content that's coming with the collector's edition digital copy, you'll be able to purchase that separately for $20. So you're still going to have to pay for it, but if you really want it that bad, $20 is a lot easier to swallow than $80. So there's that. The legendary edition of the game, which again does come in physical and digital copy. You get all of 3 DLCs: the Dark Below, House of Wolves, Taken King, plus the base game, and then you have the regular copy, which is just a digital version for $40. The legendary version is $60. The regular version is $40, and that just comes with the Taken King. And then VIP Year 1 individuals will get a special Sparrow, an armor shader, and then that Year 1 emblem as well. So, all that said, I mean, I know there's not a whole lot out right now for the Taken King. We had the announcement trailer at E3, which actually looks pretty cool. The new subclasses are pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited to run around like a Sith Lord Warlock guy, just throwing lightning all over the place. Those look cool. The new enemy type, the Taken, could be interesting depending how that works. And again, like I said, my main concern is just how are they going to continue to move forward with the story? How is the story going to continue to evolve in this game? Is it just going to be, your typical revenge story, or are they going to find a way to make it a little more interesting and a little more, I really don't even know how to describe it, just are they going to improve the story? Is that going to be something that's going to take place? I don't know. It's hard to say, but I think they have shown us a willingness to improve the base game, a willingness to improve the gameplay and some of the mechanics that we've hated. So I think we have to give them the benefit of the doubt and see what happens in this first big expansion for Destiny before we really go out and say, okay, Destiny probably is done, or Destiny's going to be a game that we'll probably put some more time into going forward. So with that said, guys, I'd like to thank you very much for taking time for watching the video, supporting the channel. I got some more videos getting worked out for here in the future. Got some more reviews coming. I know I've been kind of slow on getting the content out, and I apologize for that. But again, guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for the support of the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.